And we're live. What's up, folks? Matthew Bellman, Ryan Kostrowski here, DFS 5-pack. Clearly, we are not going to be talking DFS right now, since it just basically doesn't exist, except for some off-brand type of things that I guess are out there. Have you touched any of those?
I'm embarrassed to say I have. I have not told you only because I'm very embarrassed. Obviously, nothing heavy at all. But this League of Legends, I don't know. I'm going to make this clear. I don't know. I've never played it. I'm not a gamer. The only games I've really ever played in my life are like Madden and those types. They've got big contests like selections in these now because it's the only thing going on. And all I'll say is while I don't know this, I know DFS. So there's a big $10 tournament the other day, and a lot of people stack so and so. I went with the other side and came in like the top 10 in the big $10 tournament. Again, it's just for shits and giggles right now, nothing serious. But on that note, got a couple customers who play it and have played it. Now it's becoming bigger because it's the only thing going on. Potentially might get on here and make a video about that one of these days. Do you know anything at all about League of Legends? Because I've actually tried watching, and I don't even know what. I just was never into that type of video game either, so it's really hard for me to get into it.
No, I'm not in the slightest either. I never get into role-playing games. Madden, NBA Live, MLB The Show, and then you can go back old school to like Tecmo Bowl, RBI Baseball if you want, but it's sports games really only free. Minus Contra when you're a kid, and then some years playing Bond and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I'm with you. So all sports games for me, starting with Mike Tyson's Punch Out. You're right. Nintendo games, basic Nintendo, different story, or even Sega. I was just never really into games like that going forward. I do have to say though, just to back myself up a little bit on this, I have no excuse for playing this. Sam has caught me and is laughing about it all night. But the only reason I even started to play it the $10 is because the last night at NBA was a losing night for me because I had all my guys didn't play. But we got our money refunded. So I had couple $100 in my account, whatever it was. And I couldn't take it out because the money wasn't refunded. It was placed for DK credit. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to leave it in there for baseball. And then a week went by and I was like, man, fuck this. I need something. So, yep, there it is.
I get it. We're all degenerates. All right. So before we hop into what we're actually here to talk about, a couple of things to bring up. We get it. A couple of almost 40-year-olds and mid-30-year-old white guys talking about their favorite rap songs seems a little bit silly. I think it's both our favorite genre of music, though, and kind of growing up with it. It's my favorite thing to listen to. I love 80s music. I love alternative music and stuff like that, but it's still my favorite genre.
I love rap. I was telling you before, this list was really hard for me, much harder than the movie list because I like movies. I like a good movie. Nothing wrong with buckling up for a good movie. I love rap. I love rap. I love R&B. I love the two together. And a big thing for me, this list was really hard because my favorite rap songs, when I think about them, aren't necessarily the song themselves, but the time in my life or an exact moment that I can remember. So a lot of my list is based on that because music was definitely a big part of, I don't want to say my childhood, but to getting girls in college, all that stuff plays a role. So this is a fun list.
So I'm going to agree with that wholeheartedly and kind of add on to it. Yes, I have a couple of songs on here that have a backstory to why I find that they're so fun, but also I believe it was Chris Rock who does a stand-up who talks about everybody's favorite music is when they first start getting laid. So and a lot of people, that's going to be from the ages of, 15 to 21, however old you are. So in your teenage years, when you're having fun, life is very, very simple. You have more time in your life to get into music and things like that. Couldn't agree with it more. He equates it to the time you're getting laid, whatever it might be. We know that age group. So for me, late 90s hip hop is definitely probably my favorite of a bunch of different genres that I like music. I'm pretty much anything but country music that I like. I have a wide variety of music taste, but this would be my favorite.
I don't mind.
One other point before. Go ahead. I was going to say one other point for mine, though, before I get into it. I made it a point to not double up on artists too much because if it was for me, half of my list would be Eminem, and I didn't want it to be that way. So I tried to take individual artists I like and only give them one song.
Yeah, I mean, same, but I got so many artists that I wasn't able to get something on here from. I like a lot of different genres of rap. So I'm excited. I think we'll have a couple that, at least I'll have a couple that maybe you thought about. But I'm a big rap fan. I mean, I know a ton of rap songs. I've been listening to rap forever. I'm into music. So, like, I know a lot of songs. It's something I've always been into. So, like, I just always loved playing music in my car, whenever there'd be parties. Like, I was a lot of times playing the music. So, I'm excited, man. I'm going to start it off just because why not? So, my first song is not necessarily about like a time in my life, but it's one of my favorite rap songs ever. It's a song that I've mentioned to you. I talked about it on the last video we made. It is my favorite, overall rap artist ever, Biggie, Notorious B.I.G., featuring another one of my favorite groups, Cleveland 216. They represented it big time, Bone, and that's Notorious Thugs. Great song. I love it. I like/love a lot of Notorious B.I.G. songs. None other ones really. I don't want to say that. One other one made the bottom of my list. I had a tough time with my 10th. Well, all of these I had a tough time, but we'll see Notorious B.I.G. later down on my list, but really had to give this song its proper praise, and it's number one for me.
Okay. My number one song is also Biggie, but it's Juicy, which might actually be my favorite song of all time. So while I cannot tell you that his struggle growing up is anything like the life that I grew up with, because it clearly isn't. I obviously grew up with a significantly easier path in life. But it's Juicy by Biggie. I remember listening to it at a party on repeat when I was in high school, and it was literally on, like, I think whoever the host of the party was just put it on repeat for about 3 hours. Loved it ever since then. Great message. Again, like I said, can't really relate to it. Not going to pretend like I can. I just think it's an awesome song. It covers all bases for me, and it might actually be my favorite song ever, period, any genre.
I get that. Obviously, a song I was thinking about, one of the most classic rap songs ever. That was the other thing I struggled with, the classic rap songs. Songs like Regulate didn't make it for me, but they were in high consideration. So the other song, I'm just going to shout it out because it was an honorable mention for me. My other favorite Biggie song is, the other thing I want to say, and this will make sense when I say the song, I love rap that tells a story. That's my favorite type of rap. I got a story to tell.
I was just going to say, is it I got a story to tell?
So, a lot of people who like Biggie love this song. Great song. It hasn't been 100% confirmed because this guy passed away, but it was believed to be about Anthony Mason, a former Knicks player. One of the best stories telling rap songs you'll ever hear.
Got it. All the Biggie albums, there's two, the double disc and the first one, Ready to Die. We're big fans of both of them. I think they've been stolen out of my list of CDs since then, but at the same time, I'm really putting in CDs these days anyway. So I liked both of them start to cover. Next up for me, and the two songs that were the easiest two for me to put down were Juicy by Biggie, and then I'm a huge Eminem fan. Till I Collapse is my favorite of all the Eminem songs. It's got the upbeat tempo that I like. It goes onto every workout playlist that I've ever made. If I'm running like I was yesterday and I'm getting a little tired, that's exactly the song that I want to come on with the beat and everything like that. So I'm sure you know which one it is, but it's my favorite of all the Eminem.
It's one of my favorite workout songs ever. Honorable mention song for me, not close to my top 10, but I love that song. It's one of my favorite workout songs ever. So my next song is also like me, easily 1 and 2 for me. I'm saying this now, this could be number one. It's very close for me. I'm not sure how much we've talked about this, but one of my favorite rappers ever, if not my favorite rapper ever, right there with Biggie, is Too Short. So my other favorite song is Getting It by Too Short.
That's a great song. I didn't even think of it, but it should have been an honorable mention for me. I totally blanked on Too Short, period.
Okay, so yeah, they're doing this, only 10 songs. I blanked on a couple guys that I loved, but Getting It was like the first rap song I really loved. I remember my grandma took me to like the mall in downtown Cleveland when I was like really young, because this Too Short was like is an old rapper. He's still out. He still does stuff, but this was album number 10. And I must have been, I can't even remember exactly how old, but it was like the first rap CD I ever bought. She got it for me. I listened to this song, the whole CD nonstop. I could do it again tonight. And doing this list has got me really listening to music. Getting It, Too Short, my number 2 track.
Well, and if you know that song, it's album number 10.
You, this is 100% true.
Okay. So next up for me, this one was also really, really easy to make the list. 99 Problems by Jay-Z. Again, he's obviously one of the bigger names in hip hop ever. I'm not a monster Jay-Z fan though. Like there's definitely some songs I like by him. But I remember buying the Black Album and I was just gotten out of college and I was down in Iowa and I had to do training for this job for like 2 or 3 weeks and I was down there. I don't think the Black Album came out of my car that entire time I was down there. And you know when you hear a song the first time, you very rarely like really like it a lot. It usually takes a couple of plays. I can't think of any song where like 30 seconds into I'm like, this song just has it. Like it's got everything I want. It's perfect. I don't touch it. I love it instantly, which is really, really rare for me when it comes to music.
Our lists are similar, just in the sense that my number 3 song is also a Jay-Z song. I like Jay-Z a lot. Sounds like I like him a slight more than you. Definitely. I will say though, I don't like every Jay-Z song, but his best songs I love. My next 2 songs are Jay-Z songs, and they're both featuring artists that I like a lot. So and the other thing I like about my list is it flows. You'll see this song is Jay-Z featuring UGK, Big Pimpin'. UGK's like coming out party, one of their first ever songs. Just a classic rap song. If you're young and haven't heard it, go check it out. Just a great overall track. And then I'll just slide into my notes.
It's really important they get that last verse in there because a lot of the radio edits don't have the last verse, and that's my favorite one.
Oh yeah, make sure you get that explicit version, no doubt about that. And then I'll just go to my number 4, and then you can touch on both. Don't know if this is a song you like a lot, but it features Eminem, and that's Renegade. One of my favorite songs ever. Obviously, it's number 4 on my list. Just an overall awesome track. Great verses by both Jay and Eminem. I love that song.
So I think the problem for me is that any song featuring Eminem, generally the song gets stolen by Eminem compared to the other person. I do like Renegade a lot. And as far as Big Pimpin' goes, when I went on spring break my sophomore year of college, we went to Cancun. I went with like 30 friends. It was a great time. Oh, a really, really good time in every sense of the word. And the 2 biggest songs going right then were Big Pimpin' by Jay-Z and Better Off Alone by Alice DJ. So great memories. It's kind of something that we alluded to in the beginning of just having fun with your buddies when you're 19 and perhaps having a few too many Coronas and margaritas.
Amen to that.
So I'll hit up number 4. Again, I told you I wasn't going to double up on artists with the exception of Eminem. I could probably do a top 25 just Eminem songs alone. But one that's probably a hidden gem to me that not a lot of other people like as much as I do is Cinderella Man. It came off of the same CD as, or the same disc as, I can't think of the name of it. I think it's Recovery, if I remember correctly, the name of the album. And that was one that I had burnt for me that I have absolutely destroyed throughout the CD player. There's a bunch of songs I can name by Eminem, but that one's grown on me more and more as the years have gone by. It's another really good workout song too.
I listened to it today when I was walking. I like it. Don't like love it, but I understand why you love it. I mean, you're a huge Eminem fan, so it makes a lot of sense.
My specific favorite Eminem songs too are the ones with like the upbeat tempo, like that Until I Collapse. You can tell I like the way that he rhymes in those types of beats. I think is incredible.
Yeah, and also by 99 Problems is like similar in that. Have you ever heard? Yeah, I got a couple tracks we'll talk about after that I'll send to you. I'm now looking at a lot of songs that maybe you'll like. All right, I'm going to move down to my number 5, and it's another classic song, another featuring song. And I like tracks featuring multiple guys. So this is actually, I just had Jay-Z featuring UGK. This is UGK featuring Outkast. I'm not a huge Outkast fan, but I definitely respect them. I like Outkast, and that's International Players Anthem, one of the best songs ever. I keep saying this, but obviously I think so. It's in my top 5. For all you guys that don't know it, check it out. It goes to, any type of setting, party, chill, great song. How do you feel about it?
It's not a song that I know really well. I feel like I'd have to hear it again to remember which one it is. Now, if I heard it, I would probably know it again, but I'd have to actually hear it to remember what it sounds like.
Fair.
So I will jump down my list because you just brought up Outkast. Again, I'm not a monster Outkast fan either. They do have a couple of songs I like a lot. The Art of Storytelling, both 1 and 2. But for me, Bombs Over Baghdad, specifically for the point that you mentioned early on, which reminds me of a part of your life. My first senior year of college, because I did do two because it was too much fun to only do it once, I lived with three other roommates. And my roommate Bob and I, who would always go down to our buddy Mark's apartment in downtown Minneapolis before we would actually go out and like go, hit the bars in downtown Minneapolis, we would always listen to Bombs Over Baghdad, full blast in his car on the way there and always on the way home. So it just reminds me of, like, again, a very simple, exciting time of your life where it's pretty much all about having fun.
It's funny, man. You like definitely the more upbeat type music, like fast paced. That's not a song I love. It's too fast. And I like slower tracks. I like more southern, the southern slow stuff. The next song, but it's funny, like I said, our lists are similar, even though you went to the bottom of your list.
Only because you brought up podcast, I thought it made sense. Go ahead.
Right. So the next song, this is also a song I love, clearly, because it's number 6 for me, but almost as importantly is that the memories that it provided with. Going to Cabo with like one of my best buddies in the world, went there for a bunch of years. This particular trip, like when this song was big, this song is Like a Pimp, Lil Flip featuring David Banner. Not sure if you know it, but it's actually like a really, not really up fast-paced song like the songs you're talking about, but it's got a really nice beat to it. Let's just say he talks about doing some things in that song that me and my buddy were doing, and it was extremely fun time.
So it's a story about two men that fall in love?
No, it is not
Okay,
a story about that. I'm not sure, I should really be going there on the video. Although how many people are really watching this video?
Fair enough.
How many people
right now?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So again, kind of something that we mentioned early on, for me at least, was I wanted to not double up on artists, and I wanted to kind of touch on some of the classics, for example. So I knew I had to get at least one Tupac song in there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kind of bring up two and tell you where I decided to go. So one, there's the classic, good message, great beat, everybody loves it, insanely popular, Changes, which when it came out, man, like that song just wouldn't stop getting played. That was my freshman year of college spring break. That was the most popular song, and at least for, guys my age at that time period. And I was struggling back and forth between Changes and You Can't See Me, which is another song that my buddy Joe and I would always play when we left our place to go out and have fun. So it's kind of touching on a couple of those.
So that song, my two Tupac songs, they're both honorable mention, kind of in the same vein, are Can't See Me and Rather Be Your fill in the blank. So yes, I don't want to say that word because it's not appropriate, but I agree. Tupac is right up there with me as a top rapper. Unfortunately, none of his songs made the top 10 for me, but those two are honorable mentions.
That's kind of where I couldn't, like, do I go with the classic one that everybody knows, or do I go with the one that has, again, for me, like, a lot of these songs are about going out and having fun when you're young, because that's a lot of where this kind of music comes in. It goes back to what we mentioned with Chris Rock in the beginning. It's the music you started listening to when you were getting laid. Now, the getting laid part's cool, but I mean, like the going out and having fun with your friends, gaining your independence and stuff like that, kind of figuring out who you are and whatnot. So that's where You Can't See Me came from. So that's more my style, though, than you, because it's that upbeat type of fast flow.
For sure. No doubt about that. I like songs that more like tell a story exactly, that are slower. Not that a fast song can't, but that's personally how I approach it. Is it my turn? Do you want to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so the next song, I know this isn't a song you're going to have. It's probably not even a song you even know. But another rapper I like a lot, I can't see you liking him, is Fabulous.
I love Fabulous.
Really? Yeah. Okay, so I love Fabulous too. So my number 7 song, and there's, the classic Fabulous songs are, Into You. I love that song. But the one I have listed here is Throw It in the Bag. Fabulous featuring The Dream. Just one of my favorite songs ever, obviously. Just a song I love. I don't have a story about it. It came out when I lived in Denver, which is some of the best times of my life. I remember playing it, for years. So just a great, great song. And if you don't know it, you should check it out.
I can't remember. I think the name of the album is Real Talk, which is one I had on CD that I listened to over and over and over again. If I remember the name of the album correctly, that's what it was. And my favorite story about Fabulous. So I think I'm picking up drive-through at Wendy's or Kentucky Fried Chicken. It doesn't really matter which drive-through restaurant it is, but I got that song playing on my CD player in my car, and I'm driving through, and I got it on pretty loud, and the guy giving me my food, he goes, oh shit, homie, you bumping that Fabulous? He's like, carry on, white boy. And I laughed so hard the way because it just cracked me up beyond belief as I'm pulling out of there with Wendy's or KFC or whatever it was. And he was obviously, I don't know, proud of me or whatever you want to call it. But I laughed so hard on the way home after that.
I'm a big Fabulous fan. A lot of good songs. He also does a real good job of mixing in R&B. So I like him a lot.
Yep. Okay. At that time. So next up for me, we're going to go even a little bit older. Ice Cube, No Vaseline. Always loved that song growing up. Again, you can see the theme. Upbeat, fast tempo. Yeah. Was always a favorite of mine, but after watching the movie Straight Outta Compton and kind of getting a little bit more of the backstory behind it, it even went farther up the list.
I get that. Not a song that I love. I don't like those really fast-paced songs. I definitely respect Ice Cube, but that wouldn't even be close to my top, Ice track. It would be, Today Was a Good Day. No doubt about that.
He's got a lot of good songs. I think he's one that a lot of people forget about because if you're older than we are or younger than we are, he hasn't had as many things out from recent memory. I feel like the last time I really remember him having a song that was popular was probably Put Your Back Into It or whatever it was called, Put Your Ass Into It. And that was 20 years ago.
I don't even think, he does the big three now. He owns the big three. I don't even think he makes music.
Yeah, that's what it's been a real hot minute. And there were a lot of good songs like Wicked, When Will They Shoot, way back then. So I hit a lot of songs of his that I like. But again, that's me as a younger guy getting into music. He was popular then because this is way before Eminem or Fabulous or Outkast or any of that stuff.
No doubt about that. All right, I'll pick it up with my number 8. And that's a song that, again, I don't know if you know, it's obviously much newer than that. Came out, I don't know. When did this song come out? In the last 6 years, probably. I don't love any of these artists, but I respect them all. It's a song by T.I. featuring B.O.B. and Kendrick Lamar. It's called Memories Back Then. Another great storytelling song. On the same tier as I Got a Story to Tell. Just an overall great song. It's another song I listen to when I'm working out. I listen to when I'm hanging out. I just love the overall beat, verses, everything in that song. Heard it?
Probably have heard it. Would have to hear it again because I can't necessarily put the name of the track with the actual song.
Okay. So, what'd you slap your pen down about?
Because you said Kendrick Lamar and I screwed up my number 10 because Kendrick Lamar should be number 10.
Okay, I get that.
All right. So I was mad at myself. Nothing else.
Okay.
Number 7, I'm going to go old school and straight up classic, one of the most classic rap songs of all time. It's not one that I listen to a lot anymore, but I've probably listened to it 10,000 times in my life. And we're talking straight up classic. Can you guess where I'm going? I'm talking old school when you were real young because I was young. And this might be as big of an all-time rap song ever.
How young are you talking?
You were probably 4th grade, 3rd grade.
Oh, so not 2 or 3.
No, I'm not going way back to Grandmaster Flash or Rapper's Delight.
I'm thinking of that could be it, which is also almost made my list. It was an honorable mention. It's Nothing But a G Thing.
I thought you'd get it, and you did. Absolutely.
When that song came out, man. Also, that's about before you even go. Just having Dr. Dre and Snoop in there felt right. Yes. I keep debating on my 10th as we go along, but I'm glad you had it, so now I don't need to talk about it.
For me, that's again, I'm in 6th or 7th grade when The Chronic comes out, and then 7th or 8th grade when Doggy Style comes out. Not The Position, the album that had been out a long time before that. Yes. Also highly recommended. So that one, I can remember singing the entire song sitting outside of 7th grade English with this girl, Jessica Hoschbach, who, again, I probably haven't seen in 25 years, but we got kicked out of English class and singing that entire song, watching it on MTV over and over again, even though it was edited. Those albums were awesome. I could probably, even to this day, sing almost every lyric from Chronic and Doggy Style. And another one by Snoop that would have been honorable mention for me, but I forgot about it because I like that whole Doggy Style album. But Lottie Dottie and G's and Hustlers.
I love Lottie Dottie. Doggy Style is just a great CD. It Ain't No Fun is one. Ain't No Fun is one of my favorite songs ever too. Honorable mention for me. Just a kind of another like storytelling type song featuring a bunch of different artists. Just I love that song. The other thing about Dr. Dre, just want to call him out. Crown of 2001 was also an amazing album. So just want to throw that out there. Just a CD full of great tracks. And man, it brought me back. I didn't respond to this when you talked about burning CDs earlier because oh, do I remember those days. And the younger generation can't even appreciate that stuff, man. Getting music was not always this easy. Let's just put it that way.
No. For you 21-year-olds or 18-year-olds catching this, you'll never know the pain of having to sit by the radio station listening to the top 10 at 10 or top 9 at 9 or whatever it was on your local like top 40 station, waiting for a song you like to come on so you can dub it on a boombox, get the lowest quality track that there is in the world, or going out and spending $5 on a cassette single so you could listen to it, rewind it, stop and rewind 3-4 times so you actually find the start of the song. It's annoying, but that's what we had to deal with as kids. The struggle was real.
Buying the singles, man. I definitely remember buying the singles from like the record shop too, like of just like the main track, and it had like 2 other songs on it. God damn, I forgot all about that, but that was real, like real.
Yeah. Or getting like a dual cassette player so you could dub songs for your friends onto tapes. Now, everybody walks around with a smartphone and you're like, oh, you like a song? Here you go. And it's that simple. Like if you'd even told me that at the age of 8, my mind would have been blown.
Exactly. 100% agree with you. I think I'm still one ahead of you. You want to go with your number 8?
I got 2 left.
Okay. I got 2 left also. So
go ahead.
All right. Next one. I feel like this is, you won't have it on your list, but this is kind of an, older type stuff. This is 2 tracks by the same group. I had to put them both on here. It's still Po Pimpin' and Paper Chase by Do or Die. I love Do or Die. I love Twista. Just older. These songs are faster. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I'm familiar with Twister, but I don't know if I would know those songs without actually hearing them right now.
Okay, so Do or Die was like his group before he became solo. Again, he raps really fast, so I'm sure you like that. And just 2 really good songs.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a skill set. Like I've been listening to the song The Ringer by Eminem a lot lately. And like, even when it's up on YouTube and all the lyrics are in front of me and not being able to actually even like read it along with how quickly you go, or like when he does Rap God, or when basically Twister does anything, or a lot of those Busta Rhymes songs from back in the day when it's so fast. There's something about that skill set that I'm just like thoroughly impressed by, human to human.
That's awesome. All right, you're next.
All right, so I'm going to go way old school again to a song that most of you, unless you're super young, will probably know. Rest in peace, Eazy-E, but Boys in the Hood.
Man, great song. I obviously respect Eazy-E a ton. Bone Bone were like Eazy-E disciples. So Eazy-E holds like a 100%. I love that. Eazy-E was also like, for me, a little bit older than the stuff I was into. So I don't have any.
He died when I was in high school. So like, and I'm a couple years older than you. So like, you were real young when he passed away.
Exactly. There you go.
And that's another one. Again, like I love the movie Straight Outta Compton because again, like I remember like listening to NWA, thinking I was like a rebellious kid, like listening to music with swear words, like clearly, a lot of their messages went right over my head back in the day. But as you get older and you reevaluate the music and you try to understand a little bit more about what it is that they were trying to get across to people, what they were talking about, the plight of what it is that they went through as artists in the late 80s and very early 90s and whatnot. And then when you watch the movie Straight Outta Compton, and I knew a lot of the backstory, but then you get to learn more about it. Like it's very interesting. And if you haven't seen that movie, it's one of my favorites to come out over the past 5-10 years.
Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah. You haven't seen it? Oh, you have to. It's really good.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I think I have seen this.
Okay.
I don't remember. The fact that I don't remember makes me mean that I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So Ice Cube is played by his son, and obviously the resemblance is uncanny. And then Paul Giamatti plays Jerry Falwell.
I never saw it.
Sure, you'd like it.
All right, awesome. Sweet.
So this is back still when I was married, and Nikki she knew a lot about him, but not not a ton. She knew some. And after we watched that movie, I think for like 2 days at work, all she did was like research the entire feud between like, Ice Cube and Dre and stuff like that. And she became like an expert on it because she was so interested in it because it was just such a good film.
That's awesome. We were just talking today to someone about Tiger King and about how like I was looking stuff up after about it, and they were like, it's a good show when you're like looking stuff up about it after. I liked it. So it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing.
All right. Go ahead. I think you got your 10th up.
Okay. So, man, I had to have Lil Wayne on here because overall, if you asked me like who my favorite rapper was, like it would be Lil.
Side story. I crossed off Lil Wayne to put the Kendrick Lamar song on, so I was going to talk about both of them. So go ahead.
Okay. So just going to college in New Orleans, obviously the best times in my life, obviously I love my wife. I love you. I love what I have going on. But when I think about the best times in my life, like they'll always say you'll never be able to go back. I remember people telling me that when I was going to college, like thinking back on it was my college when I went to Tulane, New Orleans, and then moving to Denver after, and those, whatever, like 4 or 5 years. So Lil Wayne was huge for me, man. Being, from New Orleans, he reps New Orleans about as anyone can rep a city. He played at Tulane multiple times. I saw him multiple times. Saw him playing basketball at the, Tulane. God, I can't remember what the workout facility was, but you get my drift. Just a overall huge fan. And so the 2 songs I have on here, one which just represents my college days is "This Is the Carter" off his first Carter CD. Just a great song, a little bit faster beat. Sounds like you might have heard of it. And the other one is a Game song featuring Lil Wayne, and it's called "My Life." A slower song, but a song that gets me pumped up, and also a song I listen to when I'm working out. Love that song. I like Game a lot. He's not on the same tier as like Lil Wayne for me, but I like him a lot. So no problem getting him on my list.
So I had Lil Wayne 6 foot, 7 foot.
Okay, yeah.
Is right up there.
That's like a really fast song.
Again, exactly. I like the beat. It's creative. It's not really like any other song that I can think of. And I thought about wanting to get him up there, and I thought about Mirrors featuring Bruno Mars, which I'm also a big fan of. Right above it's really good.
Yeah, love that song.
The one from college that I always remember was Hey DJ. I was like, or Go DJ. I couldn't think of the name of it for a second. So I had 6 foot 7 up there. But as soon as you said Kendrick Lamar, like I feel like Kendrick Lamar Humble has been on every YouTube playlist that they've auto-generated for me for like, I don't know, 2 straight years now. So that's definitely probably the newest one I'm going to have up there. But that song never gets old to me.
I get that. I'm not like a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. There's a couple songs I like. I brought up the one earlier that he's featured on with T.I. and B.O.B. I like him featured on songs. I like the song with Drake that he's featured with. God, I'm just like...
Well, I also wanted to feel a little bit younger because everything else I have on here is like 20 years old. So I felt like if I could at least bring up something that's in the last 6 years, people won't realize how old I am, despite the fact I mentioned it 20 times.
The Kendrick Lamar Drake song, "Fucking Problems." That's literally what it's called. I don't know if you've heard it, but it's a great song. And then the other song, I just have to shout this out because the other thing about me, and we talked about this in the beginning, like rap for me, like I listen to rap like with people I'm close to. So like girlfriends I've had or girls I've hung out with or friends that I've been with. Like that's what a lot of this list is made up of people I've hung out with. So I'd be remiss if I didn't have Sam. There is a song that I think about with her that I love, and that's "Bound" by Kanye West. Also wanted to throw out Kanye. Do you like that song?
No, I have a funny story to bring up when you're done.
Okay. So we love that song. It's kind of like our song. We played like I don't know if you're familiar with the song, but like the chorus at our wedding. So just a song that means a lot to me. I wanted to shout it out. I also like Kanye a lot. Kanye is kind of like Jay-Z for me in that I don't like all his songs, but his best songs I like a lot. I love him, songs featuring Kanye. We could only have 10 songs on here, but I like Kanye a lot. He's got a couple of the best albums ever. "Through the Wire" is an honorable mention for me also. Another song that came out when I was in college that is just like a landmark college song for me. "Through the Wire," great song. One of his first big songs.
So I like Kanye. I don't love Kanye. If I were to put anything by him, it's the song "Family Business." I don't know if you know that one at the end of College Dropout. Okay, a little bit more off the beaten path. But you brought up how music will bring out memories of other people from you.
Sure.
So The year between high school and college, I was listening to, I think it was the album by Mace, shortly after, he was heavily featured on the Puff Daddy album.
Yeah.
And there's a song, I can't even think of the name of it, but it's about an underage girl like tricking him and telling him she was like 18. And like he finds out she's in high school and stuff like that. Do you know the song I'm talking about? I think
Is
it's like
it?
I Really Wanna or something like that.
Oh yeah. All I ever wanted.
Yeah, something like that.
It's featuring like it's almost like a Fabulous track, and that the chorus is like by a chick. Or no?
I can't remember. I'll have to look it up when we're done with this. So the story comes along. She puts it on in my car as we're driving around the summer. And I had listened to that album a few times, but had never really stuck on that song before. And I liked it. I'm like, I liked the beat. I enjoyed it. Fast forward many years later, I'm telling somebody, like a buddy of mine, we're driving around in the car. I'm like, oh, this song reminds me a lot of this girl I used to mess around with named Amber. And he goes, so she was like 14? I'm like, no. Not the song, the lyrics don't remind me of this situation. She just put it on, and that's why I remember the song. It has nothing to do with me messing around with a high school girl when I'm in my 20s.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I just connected it. That's hilarious. Now I get it. He's like, he makes you think of Amber as Amber like 14. No, okay. That's hilarious.
She put the song on for me, so I correlated to her. She was my age. Actually, she was 6 months older, if I remember correctly. Not underage.
There's songs that like I legit love that I cannot listen to because they remind me of like people I don't want to be reminded of. I don't know if that's the same with you. Like, but I'm like, I'm very like an emotional person. I think about stuff a lot. So music brings out a lot. Like I listen to music when I can't sleep, but sometimes that makes me can't sleep even more because I'm thinking a lot. Music does that. Music brings out different sides. I love it.
Well, I mean, for sure. I know Nikki and I, we were together for a long time, and we talked about all the songs that at some point in the future, if we weren't together, that she would have ruined for me and I would have ruined for her. Like, I will never hear like Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side and not think of her. Like, that's just a song that I like it, but she loves it to the point that it'll always remind me of her. Like the song Plowed by Sponge. She's like, that's one that I'll have ruined for her forever because it's definitely one of my songs.
There's a song called "Knock You Down." It's an R&B song. It's actually featuring Kanye. It's Carrie Hilson featuring Neo and Kanye. Just an overall great song, but it reminds me of like my ex-girlfriend from Colorado. I'm not really trying to think about her, so like it really ruins the song for me. And that's a song I like a lot.
A couple other ones. So you reminded me when I started. Well, actually, I think I kind of reminded myself talking about Mace. One of my other favorite hip hop songs that probably should have been on the list is Victory by Puff Daddy, Biggie, and Busta Rhymes. That's another, it's one of my top workout songs. Like if I'm at the end of like a 7-mile run and like I'm dragging and I need to get finished, I don't think I could pick a better song to keep me motivated. I remember we would put that on every game before like intramural basketball and everything like that. So I love that song.
Yeah, there's another, I love that song too. And there's also a song called Victory by Do or Die, which I love. So, yep. It's kind of the same, like in the same vein. Great workout song.
Definitely. You mentioned him the other day when we had talked about kind of doing this, like getting a Nas song on there. If there was a song by Nas, it'd be The Message for me. I don't know about you.
Definitely for me, it'd be One Mic, excuse me.
One Mic. Good song. Reminds me of college as well because that album came out. I think it was Stillmatic, right?
No, I don't think that was the album before.
Was it? Okay.
I think the album was called One Mic.
Okay, well, there you go. I'll take your word for it.
I like New York State of Mind.
It's a good song.
So yeah, I like Nas a lot. Nas is kind of on the Kanye tier for me.
Okay. And then I like, just a shout out. I brought it up briefly. The song Rapper's Delight, both the original version by Sugar Hill Gang and the remake by like Eric Sermon and those guys. Like that's just a song anybody can make it good. Even when the lady from the old chick from The Wedding Singer is singing it, it's a good song.
You're right. And you're also right that it was on Stillmatic. So you are correct. There you go.
Definitely an album that came out when we were in college that we listened to a few times.
No doubt. There's also just a couple of albums I want to shout out because we haven't talked about them. And they're albums that came out like after guys died. They're mixed. Well, one of them's a mixtape. But the Biggie album, Biggie Duets, are you familiar?
Mm-mm.
It's like, oh man, it's awesome. It's like Biggie it's new songs featuring Biggie. So obviously they took old Biggie verses, but it's not like janky. It's not like you see on YouTube videos. It's like legit songs, some really, really good songs. I highly recommend you check out this album. If you told me like before you watch Tiger King, you could either listen to Biggie duets in your life or watch Tiger King, it would easily be Biggie duets. And then on that same token, like there's a mix that came out like in the same vein called Tupac duets or something along that line. And it's a lot of the same stuff. Now the songs aren't as quality as they are on the actual, CD, but mixtapes are fine. I mean, that's when I used to order mixtapes when I was in college because CDs were still a thing.
I just want to shout out a beat because I was talking about Rapper's Delight, so I was going really, really old school. And if we're going to talk old school, Mama Said Knock You Out by LL Cool J is another song I like a lot. But I'm going back to the beat by Grandmaster Flash, The Message, that's been sampled, like obviously Ice Cube with, why can't I think of the name of the song right now? It was on with It Was a Good Day, same album, Check Yourself. And then also was sampled again by Diddy and Mace in the No Way Out or whatever it was called.
Yeah, it sounds like you like Mace. I also like Mace. I love the song Welcome Back, like when he came back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a song I love. I love that.
I have that album in my car as well.
All right, sweet. Great song. I love the song Feel So Good. Mace is very upbeat.
Yeah. You know me, I'm upbeat, high tempo, high energy, optimistic. Yeah. And then for, when you mentioned seeing Lil Wayne in New Orleans, well, I've been to New Orleans once, and Nikki and I went, I think it's probably about 4 years ago now, and we were on one of the perpendicular streets to Bourbon Street, like walking down there, like hitting up some smaller bars. And I'm like, hey, look who it is. And she's like, who is it? I'm like, that's Lil Wayne. Like, I 99% sure it's him. He's a very, very recognizable look. You're very difficult to confuse him with anybody else.
This is very, very true.
So now she still to the day gives me crap. She's like, he could have been our best friend if you would just let me go stalk him and follow him and figure out where he was going. I'm like, yes. Just like where we weren't going to follow Donald Driver out of Target the first time that we saw him. We don't see random famous people in public settings and then follow them around until they talk to us. That's called stalking. It's illegal.
Yes, it is. Okay, I just want to shout out because these two songs were on my honorable mention list. Two older songs, not like crazy old like yours, but Sipping on Some Syrup by 3 6 Mafia. Yeah. I love that song. I love 3 6 Mafia. I also,
I like Popping My Collar by them.
Yeah, I like that song too. But also we talked about memories. Like, not gonna lie, I've definitely, had scissor syrup in my life, especially going to school down south. It's fun. Definitely kind of another like landmark song. And on that same token, like neither of us have brought up this guy, but I like Ludacris a lot. Like another just rapper that I like a lot with a ton of great songs. Like he's great featured and stuff.
Yep.
So area codes, man. I had to throw area codes in here. Like just along the same lines. Like I put that in the category of Regulate. And I love Regulate. One of the first, rap songs I ever got into. But area codes is like one of the most, from our generation, I feel like that's a staple.
So I got a funny story about that song. Not even completely about that song, but so like senior year of college, opening like the Saturday before classes started, we threw this monster party because we had a huge house with like 8 people living in it. And we knew that we had this kiddie pool that we wanted to get going the next day, but we didn't have a hose. So we had planned on going to Home Depot in the morning to buy a hose. However, we went out, got absolutely, annihilated the night before. We're walking from all the bars on campus to the couple blocks away to our house. My buddy JT goes, hold on a second. And we're like, what are you doing in these random people's yard? And he comes back with something whipped over his shoulder. He goes, look, guys, I got hose. And it was like perfect because we had been listening to that song all night long. And he used the double entendre of a hose that we actually needed.
Oh, you actually needed a hose.
Yeah, to fill the kiddie pool for our big party the next day.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and 35 drinks into the day, for him to be clever enough to say, I got hose, after we had been hearing that song and actually needed a hose, it worked perfectly.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Only it had to line up perfectly like that.
Yes. And to be creative. Like, I'm not kidding when I say we were 35 drinks in that day. Like, I'm not exaggerating. We were probably 35 drinks in that day. We We had too much fun back then.
Okay, I just have to. That's amazing. I love that story. I'm jealous. I FOMO, all the above. Another rapper I want to call out, another CD that I love is Cameron. I like New York rappers. I love Jadakiss also, but Cameron, Purple Haze, great CD. And I love all the songs on that CD. My favorite might be Killa Cam, but man, you young heads don't know what you're missing out on with some of this music. And I was never the type that was like, thought I was like an older head, but like the music, like from the late 90s, like early 2000s is just better than the music out now. And there are some good songs that come out now, but for me, it's not even close. But that plays into what we just talked about at the beginning about how music is a lot of like what you're doing at that time.
Well, and again, as you get older, you just don't have the time to get caught up in all the new music. And every generation thinks the music from when they were younger is better than what it is today. And I agree. But again, that's because I'm older, right? If I was younger, I'd probably think this newer stuff was cooler, but that's just not the case. As long as we're continuing to give shout outs, going back to the whole theme of something that you remember from when you were having fun. "Da Rockwilder" by Redman and Method Man is another song that heavily reminds me of my college days, was introduced to it by a couple of my buddies. I can still remember the last day we were in Cancun. My buddy Greg got strep throat, I think it was, the first day we got there. So like he literally had to spend like 5 days in the hotel room. So the last day, because our flight didn't leave till nighttime, he's like, "Who wants to go out and party all day?" And I'm like, "Well, I'll go." Because I actually had to take one day off because I was just out, partied way too much. Him and I go out, and I kid you not, it was the drunkest I've ever been in my entire life. But I still remember both him and I like dancing in the hotel, waiting for the plane to come on there, listening to Redman and Method Man's "Da Rockwilder."
Yeah, I was never like huge into Redman, Method Man, Wu-Tang for that matter, but like definitely respect what they did for the game, like just not really like I never really like loved Busta Rhymes either. I liked him, don't get me wrong, but yeah, so whatever.
Oh, and there's a difference between like and love. Like I like Kanye. I never loved Kanye, for example. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely some songs by his I think are really good, but I never really loved Kanye as one of my favorite rappers, but liked him. You know what I mean? I totally get what you're talking about.
I will say though, like for me, and even just doing this list made me even realize how many rappers I really love because it doesn't have to be a finite amount. Like I can love a lot of different rappers. Now I might love some more than others, but man, it's definitely my favorite genre of music. Like not even close.
For sure. Like again, I don't even think I love Jay-Z, but he's got 4, 5, 6 songs that I think are just, incredible, right?
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same exact way. And there's a difference, like he talked about. Some guys, you can just listen to any one of their songs. Like Tupac was a lot like that, where like you can just listen to the CDs and like every song is good. For me, like I love Biggie, but Biggie's more the type like where his best songs just hit so hard, but the ones that aren't the best, like I might skip past.
Oh, I differ.
You disagree?
Maybe because he has a couple albums.
I shouldn't have said it about Biggie. I should have said it about like other rappers.
Okay, like for me, like Biggie, Tupac, Eminem, I can listen to every one of their songs and every one of their albums. Ice Cube actually too. But then if you get down over to like Lil Wayne, for example, he has songs that I'm just like, bleh, no thanks.
Okay, I get that.
So, all right, well, we've been on talking long enough. For those of you who are as bored as we are and looking for things to do, I think tomorrow we're going to hit up sports movies. But I do keep getting DMs. In fact, I even had my ex-wife and my sister both messaged me about our movie video, and they never watch anything I do. So, like, I can tell people are bored and are looking for things to listen to. If you got anything else you want to talk about, let it rip.
I'm about to give Sam serious shit. She won't ever watch a video, but you got your ex-wife and your sister watching them. She's hearing about that.
I didn't get them. They actually must be
I know
smart that they saw them and actually watched it. I got a message from Nikki she's like, "I actually watched one of your full videos." And I think she got mad at me because she's a big time reader. She reads a lot. And I had said something about the Royal Tannenbaums, saying that like, it's the person who's like, "Oh, I prefer the book." And I think she thought I was talking about her. And I wasn't. I was only talking about people like her. She's one of many that would fill into it. And if she happens to be watching this one, I'm sure I will get a text with a mean GIF or something like that.
I doubt she's watching this far into the video, but if she is, man, give props to her.
Yeah, it's been a longer one since we are coming up close to about almost an hour at this point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Again, anything you want us to talk about, kids are at her house tomorrow, the next couple days, so we're gonna have some time to make some videos. We'll do sports movies, but just off the top of my head, like we've done movies, we've done rappers now, and I don't think you like enough other genres of music enough to do other types of music.
No, I
And
don't think there are genres enough to do types of music. We did TV characters. We did desert island movies. I mean, there's plenty more. Like, I mean, you think of it, you name it. I'm down. I'm willing to do the video. It's just
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We could do books, but the problem is like you couldn't get to 10, and I'd have to list all 10 that I've read. So I don't think that we're gonna. And one of them is going to be my personal training book that's 800 pages long. That's probably not enjoyable for most people. So I just don't think we're the right people to talk about the academic side of reading.
Yeah, I was talking about that, when this quarantine started, that I was going to start, walking a lot because there is no gym, can't go there. And then also I was going to go get some books and read a lot. Well, at least I've done half of that, and I've walked a lot. And that's better than nothing. I mean, reading is great. And honestly, like, if I felt comfortable just like strolling to the bookstore, I probably would do that. But now it's at the point where I don't even want to do that.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's open to tell
right?
you. Exactly. Target probably. I mean, I've read much more than 10 books. I'm not a big time reader, but I read things that are probably boring to most people too, because I'm big into nonfiction as opposed to fiction. So like I've read a dozen books that are all based on Bigfoot, aliens, and stuff like that. Loch Ness Monster, just because I enjoy the idea and the concept behind like cryptozoology and the mysterious. Probably not interesting to a lot of people. Some people might find it really interesting. If you wanted a book that's a quick, easy read that I think you would enjoy, Netflix just came out with a movie called Spencer Confidential starring Mark Wahlberg. Did you happen to see that flashed around? Okay.
We saw like the start of the first episode, and it was like we did
it's
not
a
like
movie.
it.
It's not a show.
It seemed the movie seemed really cheesy. So we started it, and it seemed cheesy as hell. And I like Mark Wahlberg a lot.
Yeah, so do I. I love Mark Wahlberg. It was a bit cheesy.
You watched it?
The reason I liked it is because I've read all the books that it's very loosely based on. Okay. Not all of them, a bunch of them. There's like 50 of them, maybe, if not more, by a guy named Robert Parker. And they're all about this detective named Spencer, who is Robert B. Parker.
Like Rob Parker from the
No, not Rob Parker from First Take or formerly of First Take. No way, no how is that the author of these books.
We can't tell I'm missing sports.
Yeah. Robert B. Parker writes all these books. He's a wisecrack like PI who like used to be like a Golden Gloves championship boxer, so he's a legitimate tough guy. And like his best friend Hawk, I didn't like the casting of him in this movie because I think a Hawk is like taller and leaner, but just like quiet, like absolute badass. But he's just a cocky asshole, and he just gets to the he figures out all these cases. You actually saw me reading a book when I came to visit you by him. That was the book I was reading last time I was out there. They're easy reads. You know what I mean? They're not complex. They're suspenseful. The guy's a smart ass, so he's funny. It's just a good time.
Which is great in a time like this. So sweet.
Exactly. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.